Let's quickly talk about a unit circle. Put my limit line over here. Okay, so if I talk about a unit circle, we'll make it as big as we can. All right, here's my x-axis and my y-axis. And we'll try to draw a circle around here. Not real good. But in each quadrant, I have a 30, a 45, and a 60-degree angle. And I actually have a 30, a 45, and a 60-degree angle. In each quadrant, I have a 30, a 45, and a 60-degree angle. We're going to use that fact as we generate some numbers. So let's just look at quadrant 1. And here's my circle arc. And here's my 30-degree angle. And we know that we have since it's a unit circle, the radius is 1. And I could go through and figure out that that's root 3 over 2, and that's 1/2 from some previous videos. Well, I know that first number will always represent the cosine. That second number will always represent the sine. I can do the same thing with 45-90 triangle. If I call this angle 45, I know that this is root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. And I could do it for a 60-degree angle as well, where it would turn out to be 1/2 and root 3 over 2. I can put that into quadrant 2. So here's my quadrant 2. Here's my 30-degree angle. Here's my arc. Since that's 30-degree angle, I know that cosine's root 3 over 2, sine is 1/2. But since I'm in quadrant 2, I know my x distance was actually negative. So that's negative root 3 over 2, 1/2. Same thing with the 45-degree angle. I know that the 45-45 triangle is going to produce root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. But since I'm in quadrant 2, that's negative. Same thing for the 60. I know it's going to produce a 1/2 and a root 3 over 2. In quadrant 2, the x has to be negative. I can do the same thing down here in quadrant 3. A 30-degree angle with the x-axis right there. Here's the arc of my unit circle. I know in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, it's going to be root 3 over 2, 1/2. But now I know that the x was negative and the y was negative. So both those numbers need to be negative. A 45-degree angle with the x-axis produced a root 2 over 2 and a root 2 over 2. But the x and the y were both negative. And for a 60, I know it's 1/2 root 3 over 2, both negative. So there's quadrant 3. We can do the same thing in quadrant 4. I'm going to need to erase this. So quadrant 4 would be this quadrant. 30-degree angle with the x-axis. But we know if we set up the triangle, we're going to get a root 3 over 2 and a 1/2. But this time, x is positive and y is negative. If I set up a 45, 45, 90 triangle, I'm going to get root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. Y was negative. And if I did a 30, 60, 90 again with the 60, I'm going to have 1/2 root 3 over 2, y is negative. So notice that the numbers all stay the same. Just simply depends what quadrant I'm in as to which one's negative, which one's positive.